Right, okay, so no big intro today because we've already done it, folks, except we had our settings wrong and it was only going to YouTube. And at the moment, we have 0 viewers. But that's our own fault. We messed that right up, didn't we? Never mind, never mind. We crack on. So, Dan, how are you, my friend?
I'm very well, mate. Thank you. I'm good. Yeah, good
Have
with the
you had
Palace, so I'm
we've
happy.
had a very busy week, haven't we? Again, with the setup of the radio and everything.
Just a bit, mate. Just a bit.
Been
Yeah, no,
very
it's been
busy.
busy. Been fun,
Very
though.
busy. Nigel, and how are you? And the photo behind now, let me see. Who's that with you? A young Nigel and who?
Elton John, there you go.
You're showing off, mate. That's what it. Right, okay. Have you had a good week, my friend?
Yeah, it's been a busy one. Music and football mainly. And it was a good weekend because all three teams of mine, Billericay, Watford and Derby all won. So,
Cool.
yeah, it's been a good weekend.
What I'll do, I will ask you shortly, actually, out of interest, see how Billericay are doing, because obviously they got relegated out of National League South last year, but I haven't really followed them. So maybe you can give us an update if you know. Right. So, did you both remember to put your clocks back?
I did.
Yeah, you did, but I don't think Nigel did.
I'm off in 2 minutes. I'll see you two next week. Still getting up past 7 on my clock.
Oh, mate, that was funny. It's like panic. Are we on? Why are we not on? We're not, because it's half 5, mate. One has to do it, mate, and this year it's you. Cool, but okay, so let's get down to serious stuff. We've got quite a bit to talk about. We're going to touch on a few things. We're going to touch on. I've got to remind myself now. Yeah, one of the things we're going to touch on, not yet, but we will be touching on, is the level of violence that's going on the pitch, not off, on the pitch in some of the non-league games. We showed you a post last week. We've got a couple of crackers coming up, but we'll get into that a little bit later on in the show. We're going to talk Liverpool. I think we've got no choice, have we, folks?
No.
We've got to talk Liverpool
cost me
and
1,200
Chelsea.
quid.
And Chelsea. Mr. Potter's return didn't work out too well, did it? So we've got to talk them, whether we like it or not. We're going to talk a little bit about Fisher Athletic. We're going to touch on a little bit, although our knowledge may not be great. Macclesfield Town sacking their manager, even though they're top of the league. I don't know too much about it, but whether Ben, who does seem to know quite a bit about it, will maybe put something up in the chat for us, but we can touch on that as well. Of course, with only what have we got? 2-3 weeks now to the World Cup.
Yeah, not long. November ain't that far, is it?
So we have a couple of things. I don't like talking about this World Cup, but we can't but not. And there are definitely some issues again rising that we'll touch on with the World Cup as well. But look, let's get started with what's going on at Liverpool.
It's shocking, isn't it?
I said a few weeks back, they've lost one player, and he's on fire for Bayern Munich at the moment. That's Mane, and I think that cog that's come out of that Liverpool engine, they haven't bought anyone to replace that guy, and I think they're missing him more now than they ever thought they would.
Yeah, no, definitely. I've watched them last night, though. They're an aging squad, aren't they? The players, we're bringing on Milner, Henderson, and they just look lackluster, don't they? They look slow.
Well, Milner and Henderson are sort of at the back end of their careers now, aren't they? So, I mean, I don't think they're going to be game changers, them two. I don't know. They just don't seem to have that spark. Like I said, when Mane was in the side, they were a sort of a team that knew each other's moves, knew each other's runs, and it worked. It worked. They were brilliant.
Yeah, the link up.
Like I said, they should have broke the band's keeping.
Yeah, no, definitely.
I think Liverpool will regret that now.
Pretty amazing, really, what's gone on. I mean,
Trent looked really lackluster and all. Trent Alexander. I know he's going to get in a stick lately, but Liverpool, we've all been saying that they're not right, but I think now everyone's realised there's something really ain't right. There's something definitely wrong, isn't there? It's not a one-off. It's happening too many times now. But
Do you know what? Before, at the beginning of the season, we all put some predictions in, right? And I think we all didn't even worry about predicting what was going to go on at the top of the Premier League this season because we thought it was a two-horse race. And it maybe is, but it's not Liverpool, is it? It's Arsenal that seems to be pushing Man City all the way.
Great result for them today, wasn't it? 5-0.
Mate, they're flying. They're absolutely flying. So yeah, it's it's Halloween, and I guess it's a horror story for all you Liverpool supporters out there. Happy Halloween!
And they cost.
When you play football for Liverpool and they've set the standards over the last couple of seasons of the style of play, the pressure comes with that. You've got to produce that every season. Then once you've set the bar that high, you've got to maintain that. And in all fairness, I mean, City have been pretty good at that. They maintain that. I think Liverpool they're way below it at the moment. And like you say, you'll probably see how good a manager Klopp is now because he's got to pick them up.
Do you think it's an overhang from last year, Nigel, with the four competitions and how they play, the pressure, the push, the pressing game?
He's got to get rid of some of the players. Maybe people like Milner and Henderson are dead wood now. Maybe he's got to get rid of them and get some fresh faces in or something like that.
Because Núñez and Diaz, who come in a bit before him, ain't really done the business. Like Liverpool of old in your day, they used to buy a player every year, didn't they? Not every year, but someone used to go and they replaced them. Like Keegan went, Dalglish come in. There's always like a good top before they lost their way, obviously in the 90s, Liverpool. But I think their recruitment's been a bit poor, Liverpool, isn't it?
Yeah, they had to replace before they got rid of the player. So they weren't going to let Keegan go, not unless they had a replacement for him. But I think it was all about Marnie's age. They didn't want to give him such a big contract and wages like that, and I think they shot themselves in the foot, to be honest. I'm not saying Liverpool a one-man team, but he was a vital part of that team.
Your Watford team back then, Nigel, was there one player in that team who joined everything together, or was it just a team?
No, we had a system we played to. If you was a reserve and you came into the first team, you knew what you was doing in that first team because the reserves played the same way as the first team. So it was installed into the club that, we close balls down, we pressure them up in their half. And so, we used to have a practice match on a Friday, full-scale practice match, shooting pads a lot. And Neil Price would be miking me and he'd be kicking lumps out of me. And but Taylor wasn't worried about that because he said if somebody gets injured on a Friday, I've got someone to replace him from the reserves. That's how he always worked.
Yeah. So I'll do a few shout-outs. Millwall Gary,
I was going to say, YouTube. Mate, I'm struggling to see comments.
Hello, Gary.
I've got some up here now.
We got Lou and Liam Johnson. Hello, Ben Higgins. Hello, Ben. DJ Higgy, Paul Andrews, Simon Wilton, Paul David Atkins, Simon Lawrence from Chippenham Town there, Ben Cliff.
Hello, Simon.
Terry Gregory. Greg, he's on his way back from Budapest. So Sonia Spong. Hope you're all well, yeah. Chelsea.
Oh, wow. I didn't realise Chippenham were playing Lincoln City in the FA Cup.
Yes, yeah, they are, yeah.
Simon, is that home or away? Let us know. Simon's been on the show a few times, folks. He's the finance manager, I think it is. Correct me if I'm wrong, Simon, down at Chippenham Town. We must get you back on soon. Just touching, we did mention Macclesfield there, and I'm just picking up some, obviously, Paul from TMA. Yeah, TMA. He's saying the Macclesfield situation is disgusting. Now, I've got to be honest, I'm not a fan with this situation. So Ben's come in, absolute disgrace, mate. It doesn't surprise me with Savage. So clearly, they've sacked the manager, haven't they? That's basically what they've done. It doesn't look like it's a very popular sacking. How do you sack a manager when you're top of the league? I don't quite...
Ben's saying here, Danny Whittaker, even though they're top of the league, 3 points and have 2 games in hand, they lost in the cup yesterday to a team a league above them, and they've sacked him. Ben said, crazy decision. Disgusting if you ask me. I like to keep the fans on side, then get rid of him. So, it's madness, isn't it? But
for losing in the cup to a side higher than you, yeah? That's why, unless there's another reason.
Unless there's something internal we don't know.
Maybe next week we can dig a bit deeper and see where we go with that one. But it does definitely sound like something not quite right going on there at Macclesfield. Yeah, definitely. Hello, Sonia. Yeah, Dan, you're gonna have to keep an eye on them. I'm picking up.
I'm all over it. I'm all over it, mate.
Cool. All right. So Macclesfield. Well, why not stick with the non-league format? Dan, you've had some discussions with someone down at Fisher. And we've learned something new that I never realised. But you tell us a bit more.
Yeah, so Fisher were playing in the FA Vars last week against I can't remember the other team's name. It's on there somewhere. But the game finished a draw. This is the other team are based in Southampton. Fisher are based near Bermondsey, South East London, and the game finished a draw. But there's a sin bin. There's sin bins in the FA Vars and a few other non-league teams. So you get it's about dissent to the ref. So if you give the ref a bit of abuse, he just sticks you in the sin bin for 10 minutes. And you can go in the sin bin twice, I believe. But after the second time, you've got to be subbed. But anyway, 8 minutes to go, 82nd minute. The other team, the home team, have had someone sin binned. Game finished a draw, went to penalties. And the player who was sin binned wasn't allowed to take a penalty. So the ref said, Fisher won the penalty shootout. Next couple of days, the home team have put in a complaint. And the rules are, if you're a sin binned, you can still take a penalty in a penalty shootout. So the FA, in their wisdom, have decided to make them play the game again. So they've had to go all the way back down there, Fisher, to Southampton to play this team again. And it was yesterday, and that was their day. They was having their community day. Bit of a fundraiser, big home game they had, Fisher. So they had to cancel that. But anyway, I'm glad to report that Fisher won. The game finished 3-3. They was 3-1 down, pulled it back to 3-3, and then Fisher won on penalties, which is
a bit ironic.
Which is a nice, yeah.
But what came out of that, Dan, was this sin bin thing. I didn't realise there was a sin bin.
I didn't until this story come out. I must admit.
Did you know, Nigel? You aware of it?
It's American influence that's coming over again. Fucking sin bins. There's a for ice hockey, isn't it? It's sin bins. I mean, what the hell is going on? Are we doing
it's like a power play
now?
I don't know if it's a bad idea, to be honest. I think they're obviously trialing it down there, but it will stop the abuse to the refs. I don't know what the figures are like. It's been there since 2019. So.
If the refs are getting abused, send him off.
Yeah,
that's how it is in football. You get sent off for swearing at a referee. You get sent off for bad tackles. Don't bring these sin bins into it. Listen, if a guy can't keep his mouth shut, and I was one of them as well. I had a go at referees, but back in our day, the referees were a bit more. It was like industrial language. They just told you to fuck off.
But I think it's society, isn't it? Yeah, I think it's society. Society.
But you look at rugby though, Nigel, and they got pure respect for the ref, haven't they? They take a decision, they get the cap. But why can't they do it? Why can't they just crack down on football? Because you can hear them all screaming, shouting. You can see the refs. They're like, the players don't help the situation, do they? They don't. The managers are on at the refs, aren't they? The crowd is obviously, but the managers is constant pressure. So I just think they got to crack down on it, and then just send someone off straight away. Well, book them.
Yeah. Do you think refs are maybe, with all what goes on, the level of criticism? Do you think that they are scared to be, what's the word, hard? Like you said, Nigel, back in the day, you messed about with a ref. He's gonna have you. But maybe now, is it all the red tape and all the criticism they come under? Does it make them a little bit softer?
There's a lot more rules for the referees these days, isn't there? I mean, that referee's made a mistake in that match. He's got to be fined, just the same as anybody else would if they made a mistake.
He should have to pay the fees for Fisher. It ain't cheap for Fisher to travel away down to Southampton again to play a team down there on a Saturday.
Listen, if a referee's going to take care of a match, they've got to know the rules. And he clearly didn't know the rules. So he needs to be apprehended, fined or suspended. It's not acceptable.
And the funny thing was, well, it ain't funny for Fisher, but I think they won that penalty shootout 5-3. So if that player did take a penalty, it wouldn't have made a difference. It would have made it 5-4. It was just a technicality. Maybe they should have just done the penalty shootout again, but to play the whole game again.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know, but yeah, we've had a Fisher representative on our page chat. And he's invited us down there, trying to sort something out. But
yeah, we will stick. So we've had a few comments about Macclesfield, so we'll come back to that after you've brought up the thing from Fisher.
Oh no, I haven't got a picture of that. I've already done that, mate. I've already brought it
up. Okay, yeah. So that's a really interesting point there. They hired Sammy McElroy. For those who don't remember, Sammy McElroy, Man United, wasn't he? Sammy McElroy, Man United, wasn't it? Yeah, big player in his day. So last week he was employed in the mentor role. Wouldn't surprise me if he ends up taking the job, as said by Ben. Do you know, that would make some sense, innit? They want Sammy McElroy in there and first opportunity to get him out. There's another comment from Matthew. Matthew said Macclesfield were going to sack their manager once it looked rocky. But Matthew, is it looking rocky, though? It can't be, surely. I mean, all right, they've lost in the cup to a higher club. But their league position is pretty cool. But good point, poorly run club.
But their league position should look good for the money they've spent in that league. Ben Clifford at Kidsgrove, he'll tell you what it's all about.
I'm going to take it Matthew's Macclesfield supporter, because he's put up another comment there that obviously, you know me with names. Someone else help me out here.
Darwin Núñez. No, he's talking about Liverpool.
Núñez, right. He had a poor game yesterday, but so did everyone in that side. Núñez also has a better goals to minute ratio. Let me just see. Goals to minute ratio than anyone apart from Haaland. Okay.
I think Núñez is a good player. Going back to Liverpool, he's not a bad player. But we were talking like Macclesfield, and they're in the same league as Kidsgrove, and it's probably a good time to bring that video on that Ben sent us. It seems like they're very different clubs, Macclesfield and Kidsgrove. So Kidsgrove fans, as I found out, travel with the team to away games. They get on the bus.
A lot of clubs do that. Colton Town do it.
Yeah.
There's quite a few clubs who lay on the empty seats. They'll sell to supporters.
Yeah. So I showed a video. Ben sent
it. Definitely. Yeah.
So they're Kidsgrove, and this is. I think they had Spandau Ballet Gold playing on the bus, but they instead of gold they say Grove. Here we go.
We are Grove.
A good result. They're not as good as singing as me, Gal. I was caught singing on the mic earlier, Nigel.
You was. I heard you, mate. I thought you were Pavarotti for a moment.
China Black searching. I was singing away and I had the mic on.
He was belting it out, Nigel. I'm telling you, proper belting it out. Yeah, I mean that's great to see, because you know there's so much in football that is wrong these days. You know, when you see that sort of bond between players and supporters, it's great. Really, thank you for that, Ben. By the way,
he just said he apologises for our boys. Ben said they're not great at singing. They've got voice of angels, Hell's Angels. Good evening, Stephen Parkin as well. Nicky Lewis. Yeah,
I think we'll stick with the non-league theme, chaps, if you're all right with that. Now, last week I think I mentioned it in the prelude. We showed a video last week of quite a violent thing. I think it was at Bangor, and players trying to beat two barrels of shit out of each other. Well, something must be in the water, because we've got a couple of videos to show you this week, and maybe we'll have a little chat about it.
This one was up in Scotland, I believe.
That's the first one. But we've got another one now, haven't we?
Yeah, I'll see if I can find it.
Är det stött mål?
So I've got to laugh at the because that supporters run on the pitch, pulled up cramp, and probably diffused the whole situation.
He's either pulled a hamstring or got cramp. One of the two, isn't he?
Let them pull again.
Laughing aside. Look, chaps, we're seeing an uprise in violence on the terraces, as you could say. There's no two ways about it. We're definitely seeing that. But my God, we're seeing a lot of violence on the pitch. This is a sign of society, you know.
Oh, maybe just more cameras.
What do you think? I mean, yeah. Most games are recorded somehow, aren't they?
Mm. But yeah,
again, you know, Ben's just said they played Hanley Town on Tuesday night, and their fans had come in the end and were kicking off, causing trouble. A girl aged 5 got pushed. I mean, punched. Jesus. Oh, there's a limit there, isn't there? Come on, lads. I mean, if you're going to have a bit of rough and tumble, you don't do it with kids around. Come on. Jesus. Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, we're definitely seeing, it is a frustrating society at the moment, obviously. I just realised you're got my name.
Oh, yeah. I'm Gary Harris again.
I'm just saying. I mean, it is. I was at Luton last week, and all right, I think that rivalry was rekindled for the first time in 16 and a half years, and there was a bit of rough and tumble outside, but you are seeing it more and more. I don't know.
What happened at Swansea Bristol City? We got a shot of that. Some fan come on the pitch when Swansea equalised.
Oh, I've seen that.
He's stomping along like Conor. He's like Conor McGregor walking along cross between Danny Dyer and Bother. He looked a bit silly, really. I don't know what the stewards are doing. Let's see what the stewards are up to. I mean, it's pathetic.
The steward, man. What was the steward doing? Practicing diving or something? I mean,
baby giraffe trying to get up. It's he's going to get a 10-year ban, a stadium ban. What's the point in doing that? I just don't get it.
There must have been 20 coppers stood there watching him. What's all that about?
Yeah. And that was a hot point for that. I think they played them last year. Swansea, Bristol City. There was trouble in the end, the Dolman end, is it? And because it's a big rivalry, Swansea and Bristol City, isn't it? But you
got 20 coppers stood in that corner. Clearly see them, right? This lad bowls out, goes over to the Bristol fans, and they stand and watch. I don't get it.
No.
All right, they're videoing him, thinking, we'll get him as he walks back. But what if he didn't walk back? What if he jumps in the crowd and all hell breaks loose?
Yeah.
They just stood watching, mate. This is one of the other problems I'm seeing. I think in society, there is a massive disrespect for the police. I think, with all different things that have gone on in society with the police, I don't think people hold the same level of respect for them as what they did before. I don't think that helps, because what you see, even though you've got all the cameras, you've got all the people with their phones, you're going to get ad, yet they still do it. There's a total lack of respect for authority at a level which is crazy. And but that highlights why you don't respect the police, because they stand and watch that.
Yeah.
And it weren't until the stewards messed up royally, funnily, actually, getting the guy nabbed. I mean, Jesus, what were they doing? The old Bill thought, oh, I suppose we better intervene.
Yeah.
No wonder they're not getting any respect.
I mean, it was a goal, but you get a bit heightened, didn't it? Your passion, but you don't run on. He just went on to confront. But
Well,
Gal,
maybe that is well. They keep banging on about cocaine and all that. Maybe the guy's drugged up out his head, and that's why they don't fear. But the police really got to start looking at themselves, because at the Watford Luton game last week, this was a massive police operation, huge level of police, right? And they allowed. For people who've been to Watford, you know where I'm on about. You walk up Vicarage Road, you've got some chippies and bookies and a calf and an offie and all that. And then before you get to the ground with the red line on the corner, they allowed a big mob of Luton to stand drinking beer on that street, right? And didn't move them along. Loads of coppers and didn't move them along. What did they think would happen? Because it's the one road, the main road in. They allowed them to stand there. They didn't move them along, get them in the ground. So there's some really stupid, dumb policing going on many events, as well as the football, actually. So that infuriated me seeing it, because I thought, well, I just stood there watching. It's crazy.
You get, the problem is the people causing the trouble, but you're putting people in a situation where they might get involved where they probably wouldn't. So it's enticing in a way, isn't it?
What happened? I mean, it was quite widely shown on social media. There was a bit of a to-do along Vicarage Road, but I couldn't understand why the police allowed the Luton fans to congregate along that pavement, drinking cans of beer, knowing that there would eventually be confrontation.
Yeah.
It was obvious there was going to be and there was confrontation that needlessly happened, because the police should have moved into the ground. Such a big operation, they let themselves down. They really did. Yeah. But that ain't unusual for our boys in blue, boys and girls.
What was your standout game of the weekend, Nigel? Anything surprise you?
No, I saw some video footage of the police with the batons out hitting some of the Luton fans, and it was going off outside the ground.
That was Watford. That's the trouble I was talking about. Actually, the baton welding that was against Watford fans. The Luton fans were the other side of the road. Yeah, right. It was Watford fans that came along, quite a big crowd of them, and started giving it to this big mob of Luton. But it was just no need for that to have happened. It really wasn't, You
want the chants, you want the shouting off the terraces, but you don't want the violence. Like you say, it's there's young people that go to games and they can get sucked into that, not without knowing, it happens. And these idiots that want to cause trouble, they're not there for the football. They're just coming for the ruck. That's all they want.
Yeah.
But like you say, if the police don't get hold of it and sort it out quickly before it happens, you ain't going to stop it, are you?
Yeah, no. I mean, look, it's always been there. I mean, even going back further than the 80s, way further. I mean, I remember my granddad, God rest his soul, telling me about Everton Tottenham at White Hart Lane back in whenever it was, 50s, and experiencing football violence then. It's always been there. It's an unfortunate situation. I got caught up in it when I was younger. You do get caught up in it when you're younger. Like back then, it was quite rife, but it's still there. It's definitely still there. But if you don't manage the situation and police it correctly, then it will grow and get worse. But I do believe there is an overall lack of respect for the law at the moment, which doesn't help.
Right, should we talk about the football? Back to football.
Yeah.
Nigel, what game did you stand out for you? Was it the Chelsea-Brighton game weekend? Shock result?
I don't know, really. I mean, Brighton, it's like watching the monster you created to apart, isn't it? There must be a little bit of pride in him, thinking, well, I created a good side. And he did say in the papers that they were fourth from bottom when he took over, and he brought players in, he sold players to get funds to buy other players. But listen, it was atmosphere when you're a footballer. You go back to the place where you grew up, and it comes back to bite you. And these things happen. I'm sure he's not going to lose any sleep over it. You know,
No.
he'll be just thinking about the next match now.
They had a couple of good chances at 1 or 2-0 Chelsea. Callaghan missed one, but they had a chance. But I think this is probably the.
You know,
sorry,
Klopp,
Catty Nigel, go on, mate.
they didn't play that bad. He seems to think they didn't play that bad, Liverpool. But he did say, like, if you don't put your chances away, then this is what happens. And I think, you know, when you're playing at that level with the Premier League, you know, you've got to be practicing every minute of the day when you can about putting balls away. You know, situations. You know, when these chances come up, they've got to be put away. You know, I know every player doesn't score every time, but it is a difference between winning the league or losing the league or getting relegated.
Yeah. No, definitely.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. I mean, I think, Arsenal beating Forest 5-0 today, big result after Forest beating Liverpool last week. But then, as we've already said, Liverpool looking shocking. Forest, that's a shame because you'd have hoped they might have built some momentum from the Liverpool game. But
my mate's a big Liverpool fan, right? And he put something on Facebook, and he said, well, he swore a bit, but he said, "Why did Klopp put out a weakened side against Forest?" So, according to him, like Klopp's put out a weaker side, and it's backfired on him. And that goes back to this stuff we talked about Patrick Vieira at Palace when he said, "I'd like to keep a consistent side. If we're winning, let's keep playing a winning side." And you know, again, this is Liverpool fans saying, you know, that's why we're losing to teams like Forest because he's not respecting them. He's playing like the younger players. He's playing the reserve players, trying to save the ones for the European Championships, and it's just mad, mate.
So yesterday's result, Leeds going. Bearing in mind, Leeds are on the same points as Forest yesterday when they went into that game.
They were
beating
brilliant
them at Anfield. That's a big. I think that's in some ways a bigger defeat than what the Forest game is. Surely losing at home to a side on 9 points like Forest were.
First time they've lost at home in 20. It's some ridiculous amount of games, wasn't it? Liverpool. Since Fulham beat them way back.
Did you see the side that they put out? Was it a weakened side yesterday, I wonder?
No, it was their best they had. I mean, they had a couple. They've got a couple of injuries. Diaz is out. Who else is there? They've got a couple of injuries, but Firmino's getting on and all. I think they've been found out as well, Nigel. I think you've got to shake things up a bit, ain't you? You've got to change your. Did Watford get found out towards the end?
I think you had a recipe there that works. Now you brought in a different spice and that hasn't worked. Then you brought in something else to go in the recipe and that hasn't worked. So he's now at a point where he's having to fish around a bit now and see what works for the team. And unfortunately, while he's doing that, they're losing maybe a bit of confidence and they're not consistent in what they're doing at the moment. And you know, you've got to be at Liverpool to know what the hell's going on at the moment, really.
Yeah, I think even Palace are above them.
Sorry?
Yeah.
But Newcastle are a team who've shocked me. I know they was tipped to do well, but not as well as they're doing.
They're flying, mate. I'll tell
They
you what.
spent shitloads of money, have they?
They've got a belief down at that club. They've got a belief that they can win the league this year. All right, and I'll tell you what, if they can win in the games, and with the support they got up there, you know, they could have a chance. They could have a chance.
They can invest in January and all again, can't they?
Pricey, they've got a big budget to spend in January.
Didn't you nearly end up at Newcastle, Nigel?
Yeah, well, Arthur Cox, we ended up in an under-21s match at Newcastle when I was rooming with my killer Callaghan, you know, Coventry, Brian Callaghan.
Yeah.
And so all the players were meeting up at this nightclub called Tuxedo Junction, and Kevin Keegan and Terry McDermott were there that night, and they're in the VIP area, and we all got chatting to them. And we were sort of, me and Killer were the last two to go, and they said, "Do you want us to drop you off at the hotel?" We just got chatting, and he said, "What's your gaffer like? I heard he can be really, you know, really over the top." And this is Graham Taylor. And I said, well, yeah, I'll get made scapegoat for a lot of the things, and Barnsley gets away with murder. And he said, I'll have a word with our gaffer. We'd love to have you here. And at the time, it was Beardsley, Keegan, and Waddle up front. So I'd have been playing on the right wing. And the next day, Arthur sort of tapped me up, but me being 19, 20, like, you know, not knowing what a tap up was. And he just said, are you happy, Nigel? And I thought he meant with the under 21s. I said, yeah, yes, thanks, Mr. Cox. And he just said to me, if you're ever unhappy, we'll always have you. So possibly, if I'd have put a transfer request in there, I might have ended up at Newcastle.
Yeah.
That's why I went Derby in them, because he came back for me when he took over Derby.
Yeah.
He came back for me, and I thought, well, if the guy likes me that much and wants me that much, I'm going to give it a go, you know. And he turned out to be one of the best managers I played for.
Yeah. That's the good old days covered off, anyway. I just want to, because I'd like to move on to talk about Coventry in a moment. I just want to say 2 outstanding results for me as well down in the National League, and that is the top 2. Notts County getting a 4-0 win over Torquay, and Wrexham getting a 4-0 win over Altrincham. That's going to be a royal battle, that one, between them 2 clubs this year, I think.
Yeah, definitely. They're both strong, aren't they? Both. Just makes you think how good Colville did the beat. I know Notts County rested a couple of players, but to go there and beat them in the FA Cup 3-2. They got their big day against Charlton coming up, haven't they, Colville?
Yeah. And a lot of the. I mean, that was a Leicester versus Nottingham Forest almost encounter, that one.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? But this is surely Gowdy, because we was doing the Saturday live show on Proper Football Radio. But this game, 2-0 up, Ipswich went. Charlton go back to 2-2, and then this is in the 91st minute, 4 goals. We had a few Charlton fans come on our page and talking about it, and he said a lot of Charlton fans left after the 94th minute, going 4-2 down. So they probably won't miss one of the best comebacks ever. But, what a game.
So what's that? Then it was, so they scored in 90 plus 6 and 90 plus 9.
Yeah.
And what was the 9? What was the delay? What, do we know why that was such a big?
I don't know. Celebrating the goals earlier, I imagine.
That was an outstanding result, but there's some good results there.
Yeah.
There was a lot of last-minute goals.
A lot of comebacks.
You can imagine there's a few things said to the referee afterwards by the Ipswich manager, probably.
90 plus 9.
Yeah, where's the 9 minutes come from?
Can I have a little rant this week, girl? Although you've
mate,
had one.
You absolutely can.
Well, no, it's a little one, but it's sort of, that's reminding me of it. Is 5 subs you can bring on in the Premier League. I don't know if it's a championship as well, but it just ruins the game. The end of the game, there's so many subs coming on and off. What was the reason it was brought in? I can't actually remember what the reason it was brought in.
It brought in because of COVID. I'm sure it was over the COVID thing when it's because of players maybe.
It's just so many stoppages.
Over the lockdown period, it came in, didn't it? It did come in over the lockdown period.
Yeah,
and they've carried it on.
But it just winds me up. It's just so many changes. It's non-stop. It's at the end of the game.
You say that at a time that they're trying to now push for the games not to be delayed. So it's sort of counteractive, isn't it? I guess.
Yeah.
They maybe they need to say you can't have a sub in the last 5 minutes or something.
I don't know.
I see what you mean.
Anyway, it was a short rant.
Good rant, though, by the way.
No, it wasn't, was it? I could have
wasn't. No, you ain't stealing my mantle on that one. What's a load of rubbish?
You're going to have a rant about my rant now, are you?
I'm going to have a rant about it. Hey, I got to tell people, no, he proper stitched me up on the radio yesterday, right? Jesus, he's messaged me saying, "Oh, breaking news, Gary. I'm on the radio doing a football show, right?" And he's messaged me saying, "Breaking news: Klopp's moving back to Germany with his family. Looks like Liverpool going to be looking for a new manager." And I've taken it right in and announced it over the radio, innit?
It's the joke is the Klopps are going back. That's because the Klopps are going back.
I didn't work it out, did I? Oh, it got me proper. But I'm going to get you back, my friend. I'm going to get you back.
Yeah.
Although you did tickle me doing your bleeding Pavarotti impression earlier. That was funny. That was. But anyway, look, I want to touch on the Coventry thing. I think you've got something there, Dan, to pop up.
I have, yep. You still there, girl?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. No, it's a picture, guys, not a video.
Oh, sorry. Right. Okay. So, I mean, how much more can Coventry fans take? So the situation, folks, if you're not aware, is Wasps obviously were the landlords. They took the club, the ground, the stadium over, and all the problems they had. They played a season at Northampton, didn't they? Then they played a season at Birmingham City, and then this year, because they had the pop concerts at what is now the Coventry Building Society Arena. What a mouthful that is! They now they couldn't play a lot of their games. And as much as they're in relegation area, they have got a number of games in hand. So with that mad championship, they could win 2 games and be in the playoffs. Jesus. But anyway, they can't quite, but it's not far from that. But so the situation is, as you all may know, Wasps went into administration, and now obviously they're the owners of the ground, and now the council are saying, well, you can shut the ground down unless you pay this, pay that, pay this. So right now, Coventry City may have to go and play at a 3rd stadium. It's just not,
because they got an home game Tuesday night. Tuesday, I don't know what the latest is, but because this is nothing to do with the Wasp situation. It's the people who own the stadium are now being bought into that they've got to pay some. Yeah,
but aren't Wasps Coventry's landlords?
Yes, but they are. But I think it's another separate people who own the stadium. It's something extra.
It's been quite a messed up thing at Coventry, to be fair. For years, really, I don't think the owners are that good either.
Feel for the fans, like you say, they need to be bought out, but. I know we own a rugby show, but what's happening in rugby? All these teams going to administration. Is that something could happen in football with the way the leagues are going?
Yeah. I think the Wasp situation is ridiculous anyway. They're a London-based club. I don't think they were getting big crowds, but I was working in Coventry at the time. They was getting big crowds, but a lot of it was free tickets to the schools, which obviously grew the crowds. But I don't know. I mean,
what happened to Highfield Road? What happened to Highfield Road? Did that get knocked down and made into flats or something?
It's a housing estate. Yeah,
you should love that. You played there, Nigel, back in the day, Coventry.
Yeah, he did.
That was one of my first away games. Watford, Highfield Road. Yeah, played quite a few games there.
Iconic stadium now. I used to like going there.
Yeah, it's good. Used to have to fight your way out sometimes, but hey,
there's a good pub right just opposite the ground as well.
But yeah, Highfield Road, that was the downfall of Coventry City, and I spoke with many Coventry fans, and they would agree. They really regret the move to the Ricoh Arena, as it was then. It's now obviously what we build in Society One, but it's just incomprehensible that this club are in the position they're in all the time. The best thing they could do now is just come away from that. That stadium is ill-fated for them. It's a lovely stadium though, but it's ill-fated. And the best thing they could do now is just come away and build a stadium, or jump in and help develop a smaller club that they could share with. I don't know.
So they got a good manager in Mark Robbins, isn't they? He's done a brilliant job. He got them up against adversity as they was getting shipped around. And I can't imagine he he obviously loves the club now, but it's going to be holding him back, isn't he? Because they was up and about near the playoffs, weren't they, last season?
Home club, aren't they, at the moment? But...
someone said there, Gary Danger said Coventry City have moved more than some players. I think Coventry City have played had more home grounds than Watford have had managers, and that's saying something.
Should we have a look at goal of the season? The Puskas Award contender girl. Should we have a look at it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is amazing. Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen this, Nigel. Let's see if I can get the right one. Have a look at this goal.
The guy turned to go back to defend, thinking I've just cleared the ball. Yeah,
should we have another look at it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely in Europe somewhere.
Yeah.
It's like a German porn film.
Yeah. You like that? Yeah. You like that? No.
You're turning Scottish. That was a Scottish accent, then, Gary.
All right, look, guys, we've got a few minutes left, so there is definitely. I'm going to put it in the rant of the week. A couple of bits about the World Cup, but maybe Nigel, did you have a story lined up, or are you happy?
That one I told you earlier on would have been the one.
Yeah. Okay. All right then. Well, look, we'll do rant of the week then, and really, I'm not going to really rant if I'm honest. That photo makes me laugh, honestly. I look a bit younger there and all. I think I was a bit younger there, but yeah. So rant. I'm not going to overly rant, right? But we can't get away from, unfortunately, talking about the World Cup. I say unfortunately because I think it's a fiasco, but there we are. That's my opinion. And as Dan has quite rightly said, he loves his football, so he will watch it. I will make every effort not to watch it. If I have to lock myself in a room somewhere, I'm going to make every. Although I attempted to watch Brazil and Argentina, I have to say, I just want to see because I'm hearing good things about them, and I would like to maybe watch them. So I may do that. Can't be bothered with England in this World Cup. The whole thing's a fiasco. Anyway, so on the subject of the World Cup, again, more controversy because we can't just talk about the football. Although Sancho, I must say, he's hobbled off with what looked like quite a serious injury for Arsenal. Is Sancho in it at Arsenal?
Saka
then, who obviously would have featured heavily in the England lineup, I guess. He's hobbled off with quite a bad-looking injury today. So that's a dilemma for our man. Can't even remember his name now. Jesus Christ. I give up. It's because I do not accept this World Cup. Anyway, Southgate. Yeah, see, the guy does me nutting anyway. But look, couple of things that have come out. The wonderful people at that wonderful newspaper, The Guardian, and yes, I am being extremely sarcastic when I say what a wonderful newspaper that is. But anyway, people at The Guardian have brought up about the fact that the Qataris have levied some very elaborate gifts and laid on some very elaborate visits for many of our MPs. And all them MPs have talked quite highly of the World Cup in Qatar. Some serious money being spent on wooing British MPs. There's a surprise. Like we didn't think that would happen. You know, it's just what it's all about, isn't it? And then the other one was, and just let me bring it up. This goes back to some of the discussions we said, obviously all about sort of like the virtual signalling. We've talked about this LGBT stuff. I'm of the opinion that I don't understand why you would go and run around Qatar going, I'm gay, or waving a rainbow flag. You're going to support England, therefore you wave a St George's cross. I have been to football thousands of times. I've never seen two men walk into a football ground hand in hand. So I really don't understand why they think that they're going to. Well, they just jump on a pedestal, don't they? That's the problem. But this chap, now this is interesting. This is the media being out of order again. So Peter Tatchell, very well known human rights activist, yeah. He did a protest in Qatar wearing a T-shirt about LGBTQ, ZXY, whatever, and a poster thing about gay rights and stuff like that. The paper's then running around saying he'd been arrested. Let's wind it all up. And he never. And to be fair to the fella, he's come out and said, "Well, no, I wasn't arrested." They asked him politely to take the banner down. They didn't arrest him. They just asked him to move along, take the banner down. But the media running around trying to wind everyone up again. You know what I mean?
I didn't know that, girl. I believed he was arrested. I didn't realise it.
No, he wasn't. No, and he's actually come out and said that he wasn't arrested, but they did stop him, asked him to take the banner down and whatever, poster, whatever he was holding, and asked him to move along. And there's chaps come out and said that, but it just shows you again how the scummy media, and I do say scummy, and I don't care what people think about what my comment is on that, because they are, how they wind things up, how they push and try and force these agendas. Why? Because it helps sell their products. The media always looking for a story. If they can't get the England fans to kick off and pay them money like we know they did in the 80s, well, they ain't going to do that in Qatar. So what are they going to do? They are going to come up with some real bullshit about human rights, about that, just to sell their products. And I don't agree with the World Cup. Let me tell you that, because it's all about money and it's corrupt. But in football, in general, is totally corrupt these days anyway. But like I said, I don't agree with the World Cup. However, I actually think a little bit like Russia, where everyone was panicking. Oh my God, Russia! They're going to beat everyone up. They're going to kill people. Whatever. Turned out to be the most brilliant World Cup that most people went on. I got a feeling this World Cup will be a very good one. I think, as much as I don't agree with it, and the whole agenda pushing limelight that's taken away from the actual football and will continue to do so, I think they will lay on a good World Cup. They are putting themselves in the shop window, Qatar. They will not persecute LGBT people. The element of the workers, that will obviously hang over their heads, and rightly so. But I think people will find, if they can afford to go, I don't think it'd be that bad a World Cup. So yeah, unfortunately, I haven't talked about this crap again, but unfortunately we are. So
you mentioned about Iran earlier, Gary. Ian Hills has just brought it up.
Oh yes,
there's something going on with Iran, maybe being
right. There's a Ukrainian, someone in the Ukrainian Football Federation or something like that. I can't remember his name. I think he's in one of the German clubs, has come out about the fact that it's been proven that Iran have supplied certain weapons that are being used in Ukraine against them. And I know that he's been calling for FIFA to ban Iran from the tournament because of their involvement with Russia. That's what I'm aware of anyway.
You can blame America, England, Saudi Arabia. It'd be endless who supplied weapons for who and who's built. It's just ridiculous, isn't it? Just
I'm afraid this is where football is now, isn't it? Where football has become probably the biggest business in the world. And I think I see someone put a comment up on one of our platforms, and they said the problem now is it has become probably the biggest business in the world, and because the amount of money it generates, unfortunately, that will bring with it a massive level of corruption. And it's absolutely right. FIFA got to be the most corrupt lot going, But I think there's probably more will happen in the World Cup. I would like to think that when the balls are being kicked, it is going to be just about the football, And I'm sorry, but if someone's waving a rainbow flag in one of the stadiums, I'm sorry, I completely disagree with it. There's no need for it.
I don't agree with the not the ideology. I don't agree with like their way they go with the gay rights. I don't agree with how Qatar do it. But that's what their country does. That's their beliefs, isn't it? So you can't tell someone not to do their beliefs and not.
Yeah. But is it not right? And this is really controversial what I'm about to say now, because is it not the fact that in the Muslim religion that gays aren't accepted anyway, and that's across the world? They're not. I mean, you see it over here. You go where they're trying to teach this to the young kids. The Muslim communities come out up in arms. I think within their religion.
Christianity was the same, though, girl, wasn't it? I know we're going down a religious route here.
But... Yeah. I know it's just a touchy subject, but
yeah, but it's a country that, at the end of the day, it's a country who have their belief system, and that's how they are. So why should they have to change? I don't agree with it, but why should they have to change to So yeah, you shouldn't go there and antagonise them. Yeah, mate,
No.
you can try and create change. That's what they're trying to say. We're doing this World Cup so we can go there and create change. Well, you can't go and change
That's
someone's
rubbish.
belief
That's
system.
rubbish. They're doing that World Cup because they're getting paid a lot of money,
Of course
mate.
it is. That's all about money.
Let's get it right. This is not about making some, because a standpoint would have been to refuse to go.
This is what Ben's just said. This World Cup is a rich man's World Cup. The stadium will be full of millionaires and billionaires. Won't be full of normal day fans. So don't think there will be any trouble. No,
there won't be. No, you're quite right, and that's why the media have got to find something else to talk about. Because in every other World Cup, they always know they can get a bit of fun out of the England fans or some other set of fans, but you ain't going to get it out there. You're quite right.
No.
You know, the ridiculous prices that they're charging for hotel rooms and the like. It's, you know,
I'll be watching it though.
It's such a shame that this is the conversations we're having about the World Cup. That we're talking like this, and we can't not talk about it because there's so much going on about it, and that's all they're talking. They're not talking about the football. But I'm probably going to break my word, and I'm probably going to watch Brazil, maybe Argentina.
Well, they're on about Beckham now, aren't they, in the papers with this deal that he's done with Qatar? So like that's being dug up with the fact that the gay rugby player he's having a pop at Beckham. So again, everything's just to create a publicity, isn't it? And you know,
is that Geraint Thomas or Gareth Thomas? Is it the one you're talking about?
Like, sorry, but like Beckham's just looking at it from a football point of view, and yeah, if somebody wants to pay you 15 million to be an ambassador or whatever, you're not going to turn it down, are you?
You know, but you know what? Mr. Newey, hello, mate. Your team ain't doing too well, is it, mate?
Hello, John.
Nice to hear from you, though, son. Really is. But yeah, Nigel, you're right. I mean, but the thing is, though, mate. I mean, look, all right, maybe Beckham. You could criticise him for it or whatever. But how many other people are out there earning money over the World Cup? So why pick on Beckham?
When the World Cup favoured.
Big story, isn't it?
Over and finished.
Exactly.
He will still be earning 15 million a year as the ambassador of Qatar, and there won't be anything said about it next year because the World Cup will be over. And that's how ridiculous it is at the moment. It's just a stage where people. It's political. It shouldn't be political. It should be all about football, nothing else.
And mark my words, don't matter what they do, that country will not change.
Of course they won't.
What was that come up?
That was Ben. No, hang on, I've lost it. No, it wasn't that. Gary Neville is a hypocrite. Yeah, we all know that.
Yeah, he's done the same. I mean,
that's what Ben's. I'll turn gay for David Beckham, mate.
Look, I'm sure the truth of the matter is, and look, I can get shot down in flames for what I say a lot of the time. But at the end of the day, as far as I'm concerned, I live in a free country, and as long as my opinions are within a sensible reason, then I don't see why I can't have them. And my opinion is on this is that I'm sorry, but there are multiple countries that won't accept the gay communities, and this, you know, they're using Qatar as a point of question, maybe, but they ain't going to change nothing. They are not going to change nothing. It is deep rooted in that religion, as it was with the Christian religion not so long ago. Let's not forget that.
Do you know, Gail, slightly off topic, but it isn't. The Saudi owners at Newcastle, there's fans are going to have a protest when they play Chelsea. There's a group of fans, it's against sports washing something. No, it's called sports washing, where they these big and they held one at Chelsea away, I think, but they're going to do it. The Newcastle fans, there's only about 150 of them, but they're against this Saudi takeover because of the human rights issues in Saudi, where there was 80 people executed, but then there's loads more now on the waiting to get executed. There's kids involved, so they're trying to highlight that's going to be against Chelsea in a couple of weeks. So
look, do you know what? Don't get me wrong. I don't agree with these regimes and all that, but you could probably have a list of God knows how many countries in this world that are committing atrocities. China, for one, have got concentration camps. Are you going to keep buying Chinese products? Do you know? I mean, do gay people stop buying the products that these countries are making? Do we?
Do we stop buying oil? Do we stop putting petrol in the cars? We don't, do we? We're all hypocrites in some respect, aren't we?
We are. but look, you know, like I say, I ain't got anything wrong with gay people. That's their choice. I have no problem with it. But I do have a problem with the way they put certain elements of the community onto pedestals. Because when you do that, you're liable to have the pedestal kicked from under you. That's what you find happens. And I wish they would leave the community alone and just let them live. Let them be normal human beings, not LGBTQZX. Let them just be John or Sarah, you know, who lives in number what. It don't matter. Anyway, look, I shouldn't be going down that road because we're going off track a bit, aren't we?
Yeah.
So,
John Dennery, Gals will finish a bit of football. West Brom fan, John. Hope you're doing well, John. He's just saying West Brom in dire straits, pal. A lot going on behind the scenes, and owner invested zero since he came in. So is he Chinese owner? We're getting back on that again, aren't we? But is he West Brom? They ain't got a new manager, have they?
I don't know.
I don't think they have.
I don't know. To be honest, I mean, yeah, they probably did the right thing. I mean, you know, but I don't know. There's so many managers being sacked that, you know, where do they go to get a manager? I mean, it's a difficult one, isn't it?
The old Huddersfield managers took over. That Carlos Callaghan. You can't pronounce his name either. He's just taken over. Who's he just taken over a championship side? I can't think who they are, but
don't know.
Yeah, Middlesbrough
just crazy.
Middlesbrough got someone new in, didn't they? I can't remember who he is either.
Middlesbrough got
Middlesbrough given the United lad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, Carrick, yes.
Yeah.
That's right, yeah. Oh, no, Carlos Callaghan is at West Brom now. That's the fella I'm talking about. There we go. Ex-Huddersfield now at West Brom, so they've got a new manager. So he done wonders at Huddersfield, didn't he? Last season, got them up in the playoffs, didn't he? But he resigned, didn't he?
I mean, the thing is, right, when you say, well, you know, West Brom, big club, should they be in that position? But if you look down into League One, look at the big clubs that are down there. Big clubs, Sheffield Wednesday, you know, Ipswich Town, they're getting 27,000 a game. You know, even Portsmouth, teams like that, you know.
And then 18,000.
And then we talk about looking into like the non-league. Like we say, you've got Notts County and Wrexham battling out. Chesterfield. What's that? Chesterfield. Chesterfield just behind them. There's some big names down there as well. So I suppose it doesn't matter the size of the club. You can fall to the very bottom if you're not careful.
Oh, God, yeah. Definitely. You're mixed cloud tonight, Nigel?
Mixed cloud?
I was just looking at the messages like...
I can't. Oh, hang on. What have I got here? No, I can't.
There we go. Bug of the World Cup. More importantly, it's FA Cup first round next week. Weymouth are home to AFC Wimbledon. Should be a good first time in 15 years in the first round for Weymouth. So,
Andrew, you haven't been on for a while, mate. What is going on at Weymouth? I mean, that's great, mate, that you've got an FA Cup. But my God, what is going on there? You know, it's is it going to? I'd love to know a bit more about what's happening in Weymouth because I've got a soft spot for the club, and they obviously got relegated from the National League into National League South, and I haven't looked lately, but my God, they not got off to a good start at all.
They're bottom still.
Andrew, maybe next week we can dig a bit deeper into what's happening at Weymouth. Maybe you'd like to pop on and tell us shambles in the league, but have a good cup run. I think you need to get yourself up the league, so mate. I don't know. Good cup run will help, I guess, with confidence, maybe. But yeah,
they're rooted to go 5 points.
Yeah,
5 points from
really
14 games at the bottom.
Really.
Yeah.
And it's a lovely little club, mate. Really lovely little club. Right. Well, I think we've come to the end. We are. We're in extra time. The whistle went 6 minutes ago.
We could have had 4 goals by now.
Okay, folks, we're going to leave it there. I hope you've enjoyed it tonight. And obviously now we also have Prop Football Radio, various shows. Please look at that. We do have a website now that is up and running. Still got a lot of development to do, but up and running. And that is at www.properfootball.co.uk. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We really would appreciate that as well. And if you like the chat shows, then we've got a show on the radio called The Winchester Club. that is a bit of a chat show on a Wednesday night, just on the radio. So have a look at that. Some interesting people and some very interesting conversations about football, fashion, music. What? Nigel, what are you doing, man? Oh man, I thought, hang on a minute, this is getting a bit hardcore.
He's clicked the wrong button there.
Anyway, put me off my stride there, mate. And also, we do keep everyone up to date with all the football goings on and all that through the shows. So music and football goes hand in hand, as we say. And also on a Saturday, you can join me, and I have a regular. I say that. What's his name? Used to have the old lady. I get Steve Guy, who's my little go for and sidekick, shall we say, bless him, on the Saturday match day, where again it is a lot of chat. We go through the results in a funny way, and the goals coming in, and a little bit of music. So tune into that on the radio every Saturday at 3:00 as well. And obviously, Callie and Dan do fantastic shows. Dan, we never really know when, but the only permanent one you do is Saturday morning one, isn't it?
The Saturday Calf, yeah.
And then it all depends whether he's driving his choo-choo train.
Yeah.
But yeah, keep an eye out for Dan because he does some amazing sets. And anyone who didn't listen on Saturday night at 6 till 8, Nigel, smashed it out of the ballpark. You need to catch that show with Nigel on a Saturday evening at 6:00. Right, that's it. We've gone way over. I hope you enjoyed it.
Also, now, if you love your Northern Soul, there's a live Soul Day on right now on Proper Football Radio, isn't there? You go on their website
up until 9 o'clock. And that's a live broadcast as well from a venue. And amazing. Yeah, if you love it, tune that in. You've got at least an hour and a half of it. Right, we'll call it a day then, folks. Thank you very much. Join us again next week at 6:30. Don't miss it.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, Nige. Cheers.